Hey guys, we're going to jump straight into the game today on the Next Rank YouTube channel with Johnny and Jack. We're doing, finally, I know it's a bit late, but we're doing our World Champions 2025 review. We're looking at 3 games from NRG at the World Championship. This first one is Game 5 again in their series against NIP. We're also going to be taking a look at Game 7 of their series against Ultimates and Game 3 of their series against Falcons. 3 games I think tell a story pretty well of how their tournament went. We're on Daniel POV for this one. We'll take a look at one player POV for each of these games. But Jack, in summary, NRG World Champions, is this the team you thought were going to win going in if it wasn't going to be you guys?
No, I mean definitely not. Like it's obviously Falcons and KC that you kind of, pointing the fingers at to win. Just kind of based on previous form. That was almost an insane shot. Still a goal off a really nice play from Daniel there. But NRG are obviously always up there. I mean, they finished top 4 in every event apart from the EWC, where they, just ran into KC and Vitality. Like they always had the chance, but they weren't, the number 1 team that I would expect to do it, if you know what I mean, based on last season. But they played really, really well. All 3 of them individually, them as a team. I thought they played a little bit different to usual, but it's always tough to see if they played different based off of just how they were feeling or based off of a strategy, Well, that's why we're looking at these replays. But I have looked at a couple of these replays before, Johnny, a few weeks ago, and I was like, it's a little different to what I'm used to seeing from the team, but in a good way, I'd say. Yeah,
we're gonna elaborate on that. Jack can go into detail and make sure to pick his brain about that. So don't worry, we will revisit that topic. But the overall story of this series, this NIP series, was related to what you just mentioned there. In EWC, they played Vitality. In fact, they played Vitality everywhere. They couldn't get away from Vitality all year. And if they lost this game, they would have played Vitality as well, because Vitality ran into Falcons in the upper bracket. Loser of Falcons, Vitality was playing against the loser of this game. If the loser of this game would then go on and win in the lower bracket round 1, which NIP did. So this was actually the critical game, the critical series, round 1 of the tournament, to dodge Vitality. We ended up in a bit of a bracket of death and got eliminated by NIP. So, yeah, NRG, by doing this, they sent NIP to go and do the dirty work, and this was projected before the tournament even started. So we all kind of knew going in. I remember I was talking to Garrett and CJ and Shotcast about this, and Garrett was really hoping. He's like, he's saying we, of course, because he's NRG Garrett G, co-owner of the org. He's saying we have to beat NIP, otherwise Vitality are waiting. In that, it would have been a match for 9th place. So that's where Vitality ended up losing against a very good NIP team.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I remember watching the comms video of this series in particular, and NRG are usually quite they do get hype for sure in intense moments, but if they take care of business, they're like, it's whatever, right? Like, they don't get too hype. Safu might get hype for the team, but the players sometimes won't as much. But in this one, I know it was Game 5 overtime, but even more so than usual, I felt like they got really, really hype at the end of this series. Maybe that was, because they didn't have to play Vitality. And people wonder, does that really go through players' minds? And it obviously does. You know who your kind of strengths and weaknesses are when you're playing against a team that you enjoy playing against, don't enjoy playing against. So, yeah, definitely an important one that they get across the finish line here. They do let a goal in there. But, Johnny, most of this game has been pretty clean. The one thing that I always like watching when I watch NRG play is that they... I know this might sound stupid to people watching because you're thinking, well, you're a pro team, you're pro players. How do you ever double commit? But NRG don't ever double commit, whereas a lot of other pro teams do, right? They're just very structured. They're very, very fluid. They play kind of I think they play quite a polite game of Rocket League. I don't know if you agree with that. They don't bump, they don't demo. They're just quite, I don't know. They're quite we're just going to beat you based on hitting the ball. That's what I've always felt when playing against them. I mean, they'll throw in the odd bump down, but not as much as other teams. It's very just kind of ball focused, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they spread out very well. They've been criticized in the past for not making the game difficult enough for their opponents, but they've never made the game difficult for each other. They make the game very easy for each other, and it's why they're able to read each other so well. They're spreading out very well. They're making it very clear who's going, who's touch it is. But yeah, even on the goal they conceded there, I do like one thing about the POV we're on, and that was Daniel is upfield. He's trusting his teammates in defense. He saw them in defense there, and he didn't panic and think, "Oh, I've got to get back as quickly as possible." You know, stayed upfield for a boost steal. Didn't end up working. They did concede, but just as like a pointer to notice, he is staying up there, which means that he trusts Atomic and Beast Mode on the defensive end. Daniel being the main defender of the team. Not always the case. So okay, he does halfway back in the kickoff here. Into overtime we go, and Oski's pinching it mid. Now, this is actually insane. In the bigger picture, this was almost the worst 20 minutes in North American Rocket League history. They went from nearly sweeping NIP, at the same time Vitality were being destroyed by Space Station, and then Space Station got reverse swept, and NRG nearly got reverse swept at the same time. This would have been the worst 20 minutes of NA Rocket League, or 25 minutes, I don't know how long it exactly would have been. But it wasn't, and it's because NRG were able to get this goal. And bang, what a goal it was! Jack, break this wonder goal down for us as NRG advance into the second round.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's obviously a big mistake from the kind of NIP defense here. Naturally, any goal that is just kind of a chip around the corner into a near post, or not even, near post, but kind of also middle of the goal, open net finish. Something must have gone wrong, because how much time, do you need to kind of get back into that? I mean, the obvious pointers of what went wrong here, Johnny. Nas hitting it into the corner. I mean, first off, actually, I want to point out, naturally very, very good pressure from NRG here. Dan chooses to back off last second from this play. You guys can take note of this in your own games. When you're going up for a ball like this, particularly when it's moving forward to your opponent's goal, especially in the midfield, because that's naturally where your teammate's going to be behind you for the shots. When your opponent defending is going up for the ball backwards like this and kind of slow, kind of floaty, they don't have much forward momentum, if any at all. They're going to get a slow touch. What Dan realizes here is that if Nas hits this, it's simply going to go back to his teammate for a way better angle with much more boost than he has, trying to go for the shot around a player that is blocking every single angle. So he just floats to the side. He leaves it for Nas to touch down to Beast Mode. Beast Mode has all the space in the world. Beast Mode, I presume he tries to go low here from what I remember. Yeah, it goes low. When this stuff like this happens, it's 90% of the time it's going to be a goal, just because of how good the pressure is. Everyone's kind of awkward from the other team. The ball's kind of pinging in front of their net over and over again. The players are going behind the defenders for bumps. And when things like this happen, the defense does get a little bit panicky and on low boost and makes some kind of rash decisions. And we'll see that in a second. Oski gets the corner boost. When you get the corner boost, and when the ball is coming into the corner from this angle, especially when you have a teammate flipping into the corner because they've just hit the ball, like Nas was here, it is very risky to turn. And Oski does turn and gets punished for that. At the same time, Radisson's trusting his team as enough kind of composure and structure in the corner to keep this ball there, and he wants to go for this corner boost. Is that a mistake? I don't know. I mean, he just has to comm that really loudly, and perhaps he didn't, because Nas is also flipping, away. It's just a bit of it's three mistakes basically from the defense. And against a team like NRG, you really can't do that, because they are just very good at getting onto the end of everything that they need to be for, basically. And chip around the corner. Dan doesn't really have to do much work, and just a simple touch, and it takes everyone out to play.
All right, let's jump into Game 7 now of Ultimates against NRG. This was another really important series for NRG, obviously, because both teams being in the upper bracket, the only upper bracket matches in this format. You want to get that one win to beat yourself semis immediately, and straight away, not a good start for NRG in this one. Atomic getting dunked on. He actually got dunked on exactly like this on the previous game as well, so a couple of mistakes by Atomic, but the safest open net I've ever seen to redeem himself. Just really making sure of that one, and Ultimate's also getting dunked on pretty badly there. But in the previous game, Ultimates were able to get the win, and the previous game to that, they were also able to get the win, so Ultimate's coming back from 3-1 down here to make this, and are we watching this in the last goal again? What is going on? Atomic just walks into the box, perfect timing arrival, Predator instinct, and gets a tap in for 2-1.
Yeah, Atomic, man, I love... I mean, all three of these players, honestly, are just incredible individually and just have such different roles on this team. But Atomic, for me, is like... I don't know, man. He is just such a different player. I don't know how his mechanics are still, like, such high level enough after so many years of being pro. And just still stays, you know, right at the top. Not even around, just right at the top. It's absolutely insane. But yeah, he made obviously a big mistake for the first goal. He got dunked in the corner and straight into the net, which is always more of a mistake from the defender's point of view than a good play from the attacker's point of view. But he just kind of, he gets it back twice. And yes, it was his teammates making the plays for him. But I'll tell you what, when you make a mistake in defense and concede, really nice shot almost, but then get 2 goals straight back in attack, even if it's not from your plays, it's nice feeling because you're at the top of the scoreboard, you're feeling good. It's always nice, I'm telling you, it is. So yeah, they're looking fine so far. I do have to get a couple of big saves there, but they're always, I don't know, NRG they always just look fine. I don't know what it is. They just always look fine in defense.
You said it in the last game. They do a good job not double committing, which
insane.
is really, really impressive with their goal line defense because they're able to make the saves at the last possible second, saving the ball into the corner every time. And oh dear, ultimates. What's happening here? They're falling apart a little bit, but nice pressure from NRG. They just continue to poke and prod. They just they put the ball in the danger area and then they pounce on any mistakes. Without the I guess the over urgency that some other teams have. They're just very patient. They know that their opportunities are going to come to them if they just keep on playing their game, because they're not going to.
By the way, I know we're on a Atomic's point of view, but I have to go to Beast Mode's point of view for this save. Is this Beast Mode? No, this is Dan. This is Beast Mode. I have to go to Beast Mode's point of view for this save because I remember that is ridiculous. Insane. When that doesn't go in, like when you're like the defender there and you make that save and the ball doesn't go in, you're like, thank God, man. Like that just I have no idea how that doesn't go in. We're taking that every day because it just bounces off the post perfectly. Dude, by the way, look at that.
Great read by Atomic.
Yeah, and like sorry, I know we're rewinding, but I've watched this game before after Wars a few days ago. I think I've watched this game like 10 times now, but like this, like Atomic just kind of touches the ball, goes onto the ceiling to get back to the backboard. Dan pre-jumps the touch, I'm pretty sure, or maybe jumps right as the touch happens, and he gets this crazy touch forward. By the way, LJ with the absolute snipe there to the top corner. Atomic's ready for it. Yeah, they don't seem to get caught out. NRG, they're just very good at being safe. Like they pick their chances so well. They decide when to go for the correct balls, and they don't go for the ones that are incorrect. That's like the greatest explanation I can give this team. They're such a... It's so weird. They're a very basic team. They don't, like, do anything. They just hit the ball really well and rotate better than you. That's actually the only way I can describe playing against teams.
They don't force it.
Yeah, I was in NA for a year or 2 years, and a year that this team was formed and played them over and over again. And that's what it felt like. You just, you might get out rotated and out hit on the ball. That's like all it is. It's really strange. It's cool though.
Were you happy to play that Gentleman's Rocket League style against them? Or was that not your favorite?
No, they haven't really changed. I don't think they've changed their style too much. I will say that I thought they played this World Championship a lot more aggressively. Now, whether that's because they were just feeling better on the ball and therefore were better than their opponents and were able to play more aggressively, or whether it was a strategic thing, I have no idea. But I thought that their third man was pushed up a lot more in at least the grand finals that I remember seeing beforehand, or in some of the replays I've watched kind of a couple weeks ago. But they are still the same team than the previous season stylistically, and I think that when we played them, we beat them by demoing them a lot, bumping them a lot. That was kind of our strategy.
When you were on Gen G.
Yeah, back in NA, I would say that is how we chose to try and play this team.
So not gentlemanly at all, the opposite, basically.
No, the opposite. Because you can't beat this team just playing their style. They are for me the best the last 2 seasons in just simple, like rotational Rocket League, if I can describe it like that. Like, they're just very structured. They're very solid. Like I said, they decide when they want to go really well. They cut a ton, by the way. So things like that you just saw, I know it's 5 seconds left in the game. Like, it's just very natural, but they do that a lot. And their third man gives the second man that is in the midfield space to do that. Like, that is clearly a thing that maybe they've not spoken about, but there is a massive identity on the pitch between the players that they have naturally. They allow each other to put so much, especially Atomic in the opponent's corners. He will always buy so much time for his teammates, and he does it really well, in all honesty.
Who was third in this play? This one that we're watching? Because it's a good example of what you're talking about.
Probably Daniel.
Daniel, it's always Daniel, isn't it?
Yeah, most of the time Dan will be third, and he's just...
Like, he's not even thinking about going because he knows the cut's going to come. And this is where a lot of other teams, even some of the best teams in the world, would double commit. Is the third man wouldn't be backwards like Daniel is here. They'd be forwards. The ball would pop up like that, an inviting kind of pop, and the third man would jump. It's not going to be a good recovery because they're flying off into the midfield. And then the second man would cut, and you've got two players in the air.
It's just like, a disconnect,
If this is Falcons, you can't tell me that Roas would be backwards. There's no way. He'd be...
No, most of the time.
Even if this is like Vatira or anyone in KC, they'd be locked in, looking at the play, ready to pounce, and double commits do happen with those two teams.
They do, but that's just I think that's a style difference. I don't think it's a level difference. I don't think that one is better than the other. It's just this is how this team decides to play, and they do it insanely well. For example, my team from last season, we didn't want to do this. We actually wanted this to never happen, basically. We always wanted our third man to be facing forward, and that's just how we wanted to play. That's just how we thought it suited us best. So NRG just do it slightly differently to, I'd say, most teams in that sense. But they do it really well, and they never...
They know
commit.
It's I guess it's about knowing what the system is, because Atomic knew as well immediately. He didn't need to wait on a comm for this.
Yeah.
He just knows that he can go, and there's no danger, because his information wasn't perfect. Daniel's was, but his wasn't. But anyway, let's get to the grand final. We're gonna watch game 3 of the grand final, because this was the game that kind of decided the series in hindsight, and it's also the game that looked like it decided the series the first time that these two teams played in a final. That was the London major final, the third London RLCS event in Rocket League history. The exact same matchup, exact same teams, the Twins and TRK against NRG. It was G2 back. No, was it G2 back then? Yeah, it was G2. Yeah. And game 3 in that one had a 0-second goal where G2 were able to win it on 0 seconds. And this one does go to overtime, as a lot of you will remember. And I think Falcons looked a bit more composed in this iteration of the grand final than they did in the London one. I think they played quite well. This game was a really good game. The series was a good series. But G2's experience, now NRG's experience, shone through. They just have got the grand final of RLCS from last year in their back pocket, and Falcons don't. So I think that's a big difference, personally.
This team naturally does also do very well against Falcons. I know they lost them
in finals, especially. They beat the Twins have lost to Beast Mode and Daniel in Gamers 8-2, London, and now the World Championship. So in finals specifically is where a lot of their wins happen to be, but other places in the tournament, Falcons maybe fared a little bit better. But yeah, this was the final, so it was anyone's game. It was interesting actually talking to people walking about the venue before the final started. Everybody was like kind of on the fence about it. Well, there's no clear consensus, which coming into the tournament, if you asked,
I had no idea.
It was all Falcons. Everybody's saying Falcons, based on like the perception going into the event. When it got to the final, it was like 50-50 though. That was the vibe I was getting.
Right before the grand final, I think I said NRG, but I was sat with a bunch of the NA guys watching this final, so maybe that kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Influenced my kind of vote a bit. Oh, dual commit. First time that we've ever seen it, I feel like, but it's fine. They just... By the way, I want to point this out, like, and I think NRG do this a lot naturally. They're just very, very good on the ball, so it allows them to kind of stay behind it and have trust in their teammates to stay behind it and get a really solid block, either forward or neutral, or slightly behind, but that's also okay. And they sit really, like, underneath their teammate when going for these kind of air dribble 50s. They do this a lot, particularly this player here. I mean, this player was here because he obviously went for this ball that Dan eventually went for. So he's close as well. But they're very comfortable with doing this. And I don't know if it's different to what they usually do. I believe that usually they have their second man waiting underneath a lot like this guy was here. But usually I think their third was a little further back. But I thought in this tournament they were very comfortable kind of being in just this, this close of a
probably closest you're ever going to see them on the pitch.
Yeah, I thought so. And when you're playing Rocket League at a high level and when you're just feeling good and when all three of you are feeling good, you can recover out of any position you put yourself in. And that might be what was happening, like a little bit of like, we're just feeling good. We're feeling almost unbeatable. And it's flowing. So, we're going to get out of this position if we need to kind of thing. So they're very comfortable with being close. When you're feeling a little bit off your game, that's when those positions start to get very strange. But yeah, we are on beast mode point of view. I mean, beast mode, Johnny, in the last game, particularly this grand final, had a ridiculous game. He scored like a tight angle door tap. I think he scored. He almost scored another one of those exact same goals. Yeah, he scored the winner, I believe, right?
I think so.
Yeah, Daniel's fake in the midfield. He had a great series in general. Beast mode is he's not as, he's of course a very structured player. Every single player on this team is, but he's not as structured as the other two, Atomic, Daniel. Whereas Beast mode, he kind of likes to be a little more free-flowy, lots of pre-jumps, lots of just... If he has the ball near the ceiling, he'll go for a flip reset onto the ceiling. It's a lot different to the other two.
He's got the freedom. Yeah, he's got ultimate freedom on this team to do that because he knows that he's got Daniel behind him, and he knows that Daniel prefers if Beast Mode will just go in, full speed and force the play for him. But you mentioned earlier that you weren't sure if it was the level of play or the a strategical choice that made NRG look more effective. This grand final especially, I think it reminded a lot of people of NRG and formerly G2's, their highest level, where they were looking like to put teams on defense and keep them there. And I think it's probably a bit of both. I'm sure they don't, based on what we're hearing from their videos and comments that they put out, if we're to believe it, I don't think they want to play a defensive counter-attack style. Nice demos here by Falcons who got 1-0. But yeah, the ability was we can't know about the strategy really unless they decide to leak it. But the ability was definitely a higher level for Beast Mode of this Worlds than it was any other part of this year, which is full credit to him for peaking at the right time and for producing his best Rocket League at the right time. It's the most important tournament of the year because he looked back at his best, whereas the whole rest of the year, I'm going to be honest, he didn't. I thought he was a bit flat. But this is a great goal from his teammate Daniel, with the demo here onto Roas, setting up Atomic, and they don't hit the crossbar. If Beast Mode was playing better as a overall, he looked more like Beast Mode this tournament than he did at any other part of this season. And they, as a team, didn't hit the bar a million times, which is actually what KC did in the semifinals against this exact same Falcons team. So it might sound really stupid, but that is such an important thing, is taking the chances. If you're going to play the way NRG do, you have to take your chances, because they are very patient waiting for the clear-cut chance to come along. So if you're not going to take it, if you're hitting the bar as much as they were this year, not a good sign. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of, stats don't tell the whole story, but you can definitely infer a few things from them. And I saw that this is the only series that we've watched today. In fact, there's the only series where they weren't more in their opponent's half, pressuring them more, was their series against Team Secret, actually, which is very interesting because you think out of all their series that they played, Secret is probably their, on paper, worst opponents, right? And therefore they would just kill them, basically. But by the way, just quickly, a great 50 off of, I believe, Atomic's touch. Atomic in the comms at this moment, by the way, pulls out that he's 50 in this ball hard. Now, I know that's very okay, well, you're a pro player, you know that you're going to 50 this ball hard. I'll tell you what, you don't hear many pros say that they're going to 50 this ball hard in this moment. That's not what the comm usually is. They're just going to tell you that they're going to 50 this. But Atomic, a little bit smarter than your average pro, I'd say, just by a little bit. And 50 this ball hard. Beast Mode knows that he has to be ready for a hard bounce off this wall, and he is. It's just a slight, like, their comms are very, very good. It's always what I've been impressed by. The amount of information that they can give to each other, very, very impressive. But I am going to rewind and just talk about this for a second, Johnny. But yeah, they're the only series where they weren't on their opponent's half more than their own half was against Team Secret. Every other series, apart from this one where TRK was splitting the players in terms of the stats of being on their opponent's half more than them, every series, all three of NRG's players were on in offense basically more than any other player in the other team. So they were just holding every single team that they were playing in their defense, statistically. That's what the stats show, right? Which against
GK, of course, they mopped GK. NIP, that was a close series, and Ultimates was a close series as well. Though. Game 5, Game 7, it's a close series. And yeah, that makes sense. It's something that I think confuses a lot of people, because the whole our NRG and offensive team, defensive team debates come up a lot the past year. And it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, but the thing that confuses people is, people will see them in offense a lot and think, well, I mean, they're in offense, therefore they're aggressive. But their style of offense is very, very patient, very calculated.
It's good.
Can we see Kalir's POV of this last goal? Because I've not actually watched that POV before. But this reminds me of the goal in the NIP series, the last goal that we watched, where everybody ends up in the corner. I think it was two-thirds of NRP. But yeah, right here, the ball ends up in the corner. We've turned up into this corner again, and we're not gone back. And I think Rawas was ready to push up into the same spot. So this, definitely is a very aggressive play from Kalir's that led to the demise of NRG. So yeah, all the teams watching, because NRG are sticking for next year, it seems. Yeah, don't turn into the defensive corner aggressively against them. It just isn't going to lead to good things, because they're going to have very safe follow-up where they can create some volatility as soon as you all move into that position. And yeah, Rawas had no much chance when it bounced this hard, as Atomic intended.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. It's an interesting goal to concede because, like, I'll tell you what Falcons are thinking. When they concede this goal, how have we lost this game? Like, we should... This is not a goal that you're happy to concede. I mean, you're not happy to concede any goal, but this one...
It's not like a fair enough, is it?
Yeah, you don't... Yeah. You're like, we've trolled that. Atomic has absolutely taken, like, full advantage of the fact that they've done a bad play here as a team. But as a Falcons player, you'll be like, we have just completely trolled that. It's a few weird points, Johnny, because I don't fully know what is the fault here. I'd say that TRK doesn't, control this ball as much as he'd want to, right? That's the thing here. And then he 50s it again, not like he wants to, but is Rawas slightly pushed it? It's tough to say. And also Killer's turning, like, I think all three of them are obviously going to be looking back on that goal and just disappointed with the decisions that all of them chose, I guess. But that's really any goal in Rocket League, right? You can never be happy with what you did when you conceded a goal, and NRG took full advantage of it, like we've seen before in this tournament, and it paid off, and they ended up winning from it.
All right, well, we were actually going to finish the video. We thought that we were going to finish the video there, but I've got some other questions that I want to ask Jack, so we're just going to keep going. Should have seen this coming, because we do always go on longer than we plan to. So we're in Game 5 now. We're going to watch Game 5 Beast Mode POV. Great game from Beast Mode, and it's the World Championship winning game, so a pretty important game in Rocket League history now. But yeah, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is now that we've watched some of the gameplay from this tournament, to elaborate. You said in earlier this video that you think a third man was pushed up more for NRG than previously. Is that something that you've not just noticed in them, but have you been in teams that have had that happen? And is it based on a confidence thing as well? Yeah, wait a second here. Psionics.
Okay.
He's just the kid says he's got the aura, and then
oh my god, he scored from that. Yeah, we might need to. We might need to
referee.
We might need to rerun this match here.
But on that though, we've seen a bunch of people post this on Twitter. When this does happen, it's usually because the replay or the client isn't perfectly registering the position of the cars. So I'm sure that Beast Mode did in fact T-bone Kalir's and not the other way around. Even though it looked like Kalir's got him, I'm sure Kalir's POV probably thought that he did. But great demo by Beast Mode. Anyway, yeah. Is that third man thing? Question. So if you've played third, if you've had teammates who played third in teams you're in, and they're a bit unwilling to push up, is it sometimes it's a lack of confidence thing? Is it that not everything's going well, we've got to be a bit more careful? Could that have helped NRG unleash their full potential?
I think the Rock League is a very just in the moment game. Like it's not as strategic as people would like to think. I personally believe, unfortunately, I wish it was, but unfortunately, I don't think it is. And I think that naturally, when things are going well for your team, such as 50s, such as your teammates being controlled out of their own backboard with an air into a 50, good bumps, good, just things are going well. Challenges are going good. You're all playing good mechanically. When things are going good, you just feel more confident, more happy, I guess, happier to kind of just be closer together and still recover out of a position because you're feeling controlled, you're feeling like you've got quick recoveries, thinking fast. I mean, touches like this. I know that Atomic's an incredible player, but, he's not getting, I don't think he's getting, this perfect of a touch every single day of the week. You know what I mean? They all just played absolutely insane on this day. This is a really nice play. They're all making perfect plays. So when things like that happen, I do believe that naturally you can start to feel like you push up a little bit more, and you're not as worried about what's going on because you're in flow state, right? You're not thinking as much almost, and therefore, you're allowed to be a bit more aggressive. Now, whether that happens, I think it did. I think that they were playing like that a little bit more compared to what I've seen from them previously, played against them previously. I always have felt like they might hold a very close second man, but at least when I was playing against them, I always thought that their third man was very safe, very, very far away. In this one, it just feels like they were more, they were just happier to push up, happier to go for things, happier to hold that positioning as their third man, even kind of beyond the midfield line instead of behind it a lot of the time. Things like this is exactly what I'm talking about. They're all just very, they're very ready. They're very here, right? Whereas before, maybe they were further back. That's at least my, assessment on it. And again, Dan is possibly, in my opinion, just the best third man in the world. I think he's got a really, really solid case for it. But things like this, where his teammates, he was very far pushed up. He's beyond the halfway line. He's still facing forward as third man. Naturally, he does turn back once the opponents start to get the ball. But things like this, when you can do this type of kind of play to slow the play down, where you're getting a good touch, avoiding the bump with not too high of a jump, so you can recover and get the next challenge. It might not look like much, but that is a very, very good play to kind of slow the opponent's offense down and give your teammates time to get back. Things like that are also just going very well for them. They're just obviously feeling good, and therefore they can kind of get out of awkward positions, even if they put themselves into it from being a little bit more aggressive.
I like that the previous play as well from Daniel, just challenging for his teammate, because he knows he's probably getting the ball flicked over his head. Doesn't care, just goes for where the ball is, forces the play. Teammate's probably got it, all good.
Yeah,
that's
he's really good at that.
Yeah, really trusting, and not letting the grand finals of Worlds take that focus away from him. Yeah, Beastman nearly scored this one as well.
Yeah,
this was another double tap that nearly goes in. He nearly got two in the same game in the finals.
Ridiculous.
Which is just crazy. And I think that Beast Mode, I said earlier, being able to produce his best level in the grand final and in the World Championship is really just testament to his ability to, I think, just be confident. And
absolutely.
No more. I never saw this more than when he had to step up and play ones for V1 at Gamers 8 2 years ago, where he had to step in for Daniel, one of the best ones players in the world and just indeed of all time. It's a nice play there by Daniel. with the pass mid. That's the winning goal. Spoilers, I'm sure you all know by now though. But that's the goal that won it all. But yeah, when I saw that Beast Mode was able to do that, to come into the 1v1 arena and you know, not just give some respectable losses. He beat some good players. He beat some very good players, and he gave some other good players some great games. That made me just realize how unbelievably confident, to a fault almost, he is, because he shouldn't have been. He shouldn't have been as confident in 1v1 back then. He wasn't supposed to be playing the 1v1 games. I know he does like play a little bit, but he definitely wasn't preparing for that with Daniel on his team. But he was like, all good, just gonna come in, get to play it, and be confident while doing so. So I'm not surprised to see him being confident in this most high pressure situation in Rocket League, which is what the World Championship final is. It's it's by far the most high pressure, and yeah, it's something that's hard to learn. You didn't get a chance to play against this team all year, Jack. Do you?
No.
Do you wish you got a shot at them? I'm sure you would have loved to play them in the final.
Of course, I would have preferred to play them again in the grand final of the Rally Major than the Falcons. I mean, we were watching that series. Like, of course, you're telling yourself that you're confident no matter what to play anyone. But we were praying that NRG were going to beat Falcons in that semis of that LAN. Maybe it could have gone differently. Maybe it would have gone the same as well. Who knows? It doesn't really matter because it didn't happen. But yeah, we never got to play them all year round. We obviously scrimmed them a turn, but yeah, we never got to play them in tournament. Really nice ending to this game here from Beast Mode and Daniel. Just again, I know it's not the biggest thing, but just look how 54 boost, 0 seconds, ball is in the air, Atomic. He's just chilling. Like, his teammate Beastman is going to go up for the ball, and he's not like rushing to get behind to try and rotate back to defend the net, because it's 0 seconds. We're a goal up. He's not trying to get back to the net. Just defend. Just chill. Wait for the touch. Go for the ball. Don't know if he initially planned to go for the fake, rather than he just wants to get up quickly in case Ruas. Yeah, he just wants to get up. If Ruas beats him, then he can try and get a block through the midfield, because that's where Ruas' touch is going to go. If Ruas doesn't, we can fake. Or just at least put the opponents off here, and the ball drops. Doesn't have to be a perfect play on 0 seconds to get the ball to the ground. Really, really nice. Yeah, just an incredible tournament, honestly, from NRG. Individually, like, absolutely spot on. As a team, really, as always, spot on. I don't think they've ever kind of changed. Maybe just their individual level, decides their results. But as a team, they're always kind of the same team, or at least very, very consistently the same level. And yeah, really impressive. So that was our review of NRG's World Championship win. Sorry again for taking this long to get this out there, but hopefully you guys still enjoyed that. And apologies for the length of the video.
Yeah, if that's a problem, we are also consistently sorry for that one, because we do continue to do that. Not intended, we promise. And that is something you're not only going to need to suffer through on the YouTube channel, but also in the course if you are interested in thenextrank.com improving your own game. Yeah, we do this in all the videos as well. We think going in when we're recording a video, it's going to take 7 minutes, 10 minutes, and it ends up taking half an hour. But we decided that's just that's just how the content from Jack and I ends up. So we're just gonna leave it like that. We're not gonna try and condense things. We're just gonna let it flow. And if you guys like it, you like it. If you don't, that's all good. But yeah, congrats to NRG on being world champions. Something that is very hard to do in Rocket League these days. Only once a year now, as opposed to two times back then. So you could almost say that the World Championship is now they account for double, maybe, and they've got one. So who knows? Maybe they can get another. Yeah, what's that?
Question. I don't know if you've given it much thought. How much more does it take for NRG to be the best team of all time, and for Atomic to be the best player of all time?
Atomic to be the best player is harder, I think, because he's got a long way. I think Monkeyman's he's made quite an impressive resume for himself. But I mean, if they win another Worlds, I think that would do it, because Worlds are worth double, and nobody's won 2 in the opening. Well, if they win another Worlds, I think NRG are the best. But they might be able to get close to Dignitas. I'd have to go and look again.
If they win another major. Yeah.
Yeah, because what have they won now? They've won a major, they've won Worlds, and they've won a bunch of NA regionals. I don't really care too much about that, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. But I think what else have they done? A bunch of finals at majors, finals of the previous
Just
Worlds.
consistent, like top 4s and everything.
Yeah, top 4s this year. So it's like 2 calendar years of being pretty consistently in the top 4, only missing one top 4. That was Esports World Cup. The previous year's Esports World Cup, I guess they had NAS in the team. So yeah, you've got RLCS top 4s. It's pretty close, honestly. I think it's pretty close. Another major might do it, but for Atomic to be the GOAT, I think he'd have to. A major wouldn't be enough for him to pass. Yeah, I think there's a bigger gap from Monkey Moon to Atomic than there is from Dignitas to NRG.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense naturally. I think, yeah, it's interesting to think about. I don't think. I actually don't think either like NRG or Atomic are that far off of both, in all honesty. But yeah, it's obviously very, very hard to win a LAN. But yeah, I feel like they will get at least one more. I'm not gonna lie. Just something tells me that they will. But yeah, we're gonna leave it there.
If they stick together, they can win plenty. They can win. They can make it like no debate if they stick together for another couple of seasons. Which I mean, they look like they are for one whole year. It's a good thing about sticking together for a season now is it's like worth 2 seasons from the old days.
Right.
So that's how they can really, I think, guarantee it the most is just by racking up more NA wins. I said that I don't care about it too much. It is worth something, you know, the regional.
I think it's worth something, yeah.
The regional wins. It's not obviously as important as LANs, but if it comes down to, okay, how are we going to separate these 2 teams that have the same amount of LAN wins all time? I don't know, probably regionals. It's like the next tiebreaker, I guess. But yeah, that's a really interesting discussion. We'll probably be. I'll have to go do the calculations. You know, go to the spreadsheets and see if we can annoy T-Bates with whatever we come up with. No,
absolutely.
That's not the objective. But anyway, yeah, maybe we can get into that on this channel as well if you guys are interested.
Absolutely, guys. Let us know in the comments. Drop a like, drop a sub to the channel. Check out all of our other videos. Of course, check out thenextrank.com. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.